suited we really are. Okay, go.
Hey sports fans, this is Tom from Elite. We got a epic podcast coming out later today, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to cover with you guys. And yeah, so we're going to get into that. The first one I want to talk about is squatting. So we always teach people how to do squats using the what's wrong? Is there something wrong with the camera?
No, I'm just saying from deadlift.
Okay. So Rob's just finished a set of deadlifts, or a bunch of sets of deadlifts. I just finished doing prowler walks for 30 minutes. Anyway, okay, so when you have someone at an intermediate level and they've actually learned how to do a correct back squat, that is, they're sitting back, they're relaxing, and then they're exploding off the box. Once you teach them how to explode off the box, they may, if their core lacks the power that it needs, may find that their ass comes off the ground, but the bar basically stays in the same spot, and the whole body kind of does this, and then so it goes, the hips shoot up, and then you do a good morning. Now, taken at any weight, somebody will probably start doing that. That's a very common way that a squat fails, is the core is not strong. But it's important to understand what's going on in the midsection when that's happening. A lot of times people think that it's the legs that are not able to produce the force, but the truth is if you think about it, and you're watching that the body move, is the legs are producing ample force because for a split second, the entire body is moving upwards, and then almost immediately, the core is unable to maintain that proper arch and starts to fail because it's not strong enough. Okay, so in order to improve that, there's a few exercises that you can do, and this is still sticking with our theme of actually telling you a relevant exercise to your problem. So if this is happening to you, here's what you want to do. The first thing you want to do is work on some Pallof presses, work on some wood choppers, work on, what was the one you said yesterday? Fallouts. Fallouts are actually the best one for this because fallouts are going to simulate the same type of situation where there's this brief, powerful contraction that needs to be created to allow the forces being generated by the legs to be transmitted up into the bar. So what's really happening here is there's a deficit in power in the core. Power is, I gotta get schooled on my physics here. Okay, power is work over time. So that core may be able to produce a force strong enough to allow the legs to generate a force and then pass through the core and cause the bar to raise. But if it's not able to turn it on fast enough, namely if it's not powerful enough, then because the legs are moving so fast and we're being so explosive, before it has a chance to get to that tension required to actually sustain and pass that energy through, it's going to fail and it's going to fall forward, and then you'll find yourself coming back up. So what you've got to improve in the core isn't just the ability to generate a force, it's the ability to generate a force quickly, and that's what we'll talk about when we're talking about power. So that's why a fallout is an interesting exercise that's probably going to help that, because a fallout you can basically, boom, like briefly, quickly expose your core to a large amount of stress and then pop back up. Okay, so that's a really good cure for that. So there's the squat thing. What was the other thing we were going to talk about? Oh, horses. We were going to talk about horses. So speed training and wagon trains. How's he going to pull this one together, folks? Let's just wait and see. Okay, so in your muscles, you've got these things called motor units, all right? And you have fast twitch and slow twitch motor units. By the way, there's a hilarious comedy bit about quick twitch by Bill Burr, and it's just epically funny. So if you get a chance, check that out. That guy's hilarious. But don't get mad at me if you're offended by it. Okay, so you got these quick twitch. No, you got this fast twitch and this slow twitch muscle fibers. And there's actually two fast twitch. There's fast twitch alactic and fast twitch glycotic. And I believe fast twitch glycotic is the slower of the fast twitch, but don't quote me on that. So you have three different types of muscle fibers. Well, you see, folks, Here's the problem when you're trying to do, say, a deadlift or a squat or a bench press, and the bar is moving very slow. If you've ever watched a powerlifting competition, a lot of people will comment on, wow, he smoked that weight. He could have done 100 pounds more because it was moving so fast. Truth is, it's probably 98% of his max, but in order to display strength in moving as much weight as you possibly can, one of the things you need to do is learn how to get all your motor units to turn on as quickly as possible. And here's why. The motor units work in a parallel configuration, okay? All that means is, picture a team of horses pulling a wagon. And we've got 3 horses that are fast twitch, 3 that are slow, okay? And then we're gonna make the wagon very heavy. Well, the problem with the fast twitch fibers is they tire out quickly. So, if you wanna produce the most force possible, you need to get all of your fibers to turn on before the fastest ones start to fatigue and stop producing force. And you'll see this in beginner, well, you won't see it in beginner lifters, but somewhere in the intermediate level, you'll see people strain and fail. And it's because they're straining because they're turning their fast twitch units on. The slow twitch units haven't turned on yet, so they're not producing enough force to overcome gravity. And then just as the slow twitch fibers finally come on board and start pulling, or the slow horses start pulling, the fast horses get tired, and then the whole thing falls apart because the slow ones don't contribute that much to the overall strength anyways. But if instead you can get them to turn on faster, and this is what we call rate of force development, and the way that you can improve this is speed pulls and box jumps. See, again, I'm giving you exercises that you can actually use to solve this problem. I'm not just saying, or you could stand on a BOSU ball, okay? Big difference. So the way that you improve this, if you're seeing like you're straining and you're missing your weights, it's because your rate of force development isn't where it needs to be. So this is when we use plyometrics, not when you're running a boot camp with 100 people that haven't worked out in the last 6 months. That's not when you do plyometrics. Not like that irritates the crap out of me to talk about. Anyways, this is when you do plyometrics. Plyometrics produce a rapid shock load to the fast twitch fibers, tells them to turn on very fast. It starts to basically teach you how to use your central nervous system to engage fibers faster, because if you don't get on the box. So there's a motivation, because it really sucks to wipe out. Trust me, I've wiped out in a full good life at like 5 p.m. on a Monday doing box jumps. It was kind of embarrassing.
Draw zero attention to yourself.
No, 300-pound man with like a 40-pound weight vest trying to jump on it. Like, yeah, it wasn't good. Okay, so that's how you fix, if you're finding that you're stuck and you're sitting there and you're producing force for 2 to 3 seconds, that's the problem. Okay? And I won't get into why, if you're a fast failer, if you fail really fast, then that's a whole other problem. But there's 2 little tips for you, okay, guys? If you squat, you find your butt comes up before your shoulders do, well then, let's do some fallouts to build up the abs. Let's just do a lot of ab work in general. The other thing too is holding your breath. If you keep your breath tight and you actually push your belly out when you're in the bottom of the squat, that'll help to stabilize that as well. And if you find when you go to lift your heavy weights that you strain and fail, stop lifting heavy weights, start working on rate of force development, use loads of 50 to 60% for 10 sets of 3, and just explode them as much as possible. Use bands, because those will add a little bit of accommodation to the training. We'll more on that later. And use box jumps. I'm out of here. Thanks.